The medieval apothecary played a vital role in the health and well-being of towns and villages. Their shops were small, tucked away on quiet streets or bustling marketplaces. Unlike modern pharmacists, they were not only dispensers of medicine, but also healers, herbalists, and sometimes even spiritual guides. Their days began before dawn, waking early to prepare their workspaces. Shelves were lined with countless jars and containers filled with dried herbs, roots, and powders. The apothecary's task was to blend these ingredients into salves, tinctures, and potions to treat illness and injury. Every movement was deliberate, slow, and precise. Their knowledge came from ancient texts, passed down through generations, as well as their own observations and experiences. They worked in a time when medicine was as much an art as a science. Asterisk. Gathering ingredients was a careful and ritualized process. Herbs had to be collected at specific times to ensure potency. Some leaves were picked at the first light of dawn, when the dew still clung to the edges. Roots were dug at twilight, under the waning moon. Flowers were harvested only during certain phases of the moon, believed to influence their healing power. The apothecary carried baskets lined with soft cloths to gently hold delicate plants. They knew which plants grew locally and which rare spices and resins were brought by merchants from faraway lands. Trade routes connected distant places, bringing precious cinnamon, myrrh, and frankincense, prized for their exotic healing properties. Harvesting was done carefully to avoid damaging the environment, respecting nature's balance. Asterisk. Once gathered, the raw materials had to be carefully prepared. Drying herbs was an exacting task. Leaves and flowers were spread thinly on woven. Mats were hung upside down in cool, dark rooms to preserve their essence. Roots were cleaned, sliced, and dried slowly to prevent loss of oils. The apothecary crushed dried plants with a heavy stone mortar and pestle, turning them into powders. These powders could be mixed with honey, wine, vinegar, or oils to make medicines. Some remedies required days or even weeks to mature before use. Patience was essential, for a rushed remedy could cause harm instead of healing. The apothecary kept detailed notes on preparation, sometimes encoded in symbols to keep knowledge secret. Each step was slow and meticulous, a ritual in itself. Asterisk. The apothecary's workshop was filled with simple but essential tools. Mortar and pestles made of stone or wood were used to crush herbs. Scales balanced precious ingredients with exact precision. Glass or ceramic jars stored dried herbs and prepared remedies, each carefully labeled. Cabinets with many drawers held powders, roots, and spices, protected from moisture and pests. The apothecary polished their tools regularly and kept the workspace immaculately clean. Even the lighting was carefully controlled. Candles burned low to avoid damaging sensitive ingredients. Every tool reflected the slow, methodical nature of the craft, designed to preserve quality and accuracy. Asterisk. Healing in the medieval era was inseparable from faith and superstition. The apothecary's work was not purely scientific. Remedies were often prepared with whispered prayers, blessings, or incantations. Holy water might be sprinkled on salves, and herbs might be gathered on specific saints' days to increase their potency. Illness was thought to be caused by evil spirits, divine punishment, or imbalances in the body's humors. The apothecary's role was to restore harmony between body and soul, combining medicine with ritual. This spiritual dimension made their work both mysterious and deeply respected, even feared in some communities. Common ailments like fever, wounds, digestive troubles, and aches were treated with simple but effective remedies. A poultice of crushed plantain leaves could soothe the wound, while a bitter tea of chamomile eased stomach pain. Ointments made with beeswax and herbs helped reduce swelling. The apothecary selected remedies carefully based on the patient's symptoms and constitution. Dosage was important. Too little had no effect. Too much could be harmful. Remedies were often accompanied by advice on diet, rest, and behavior. The apothecary was as much counselor as chemist. Rare spices and resins traveled great distances to reach the apothecary's shelves. Cinnamon from Sri Lanka, myrrh from the Arabian Peninsula, and frankincense from Somalia were highly prized. These exotic ingredients were expensive and used sparingly in potent mixtures. Trade routes brought these goods by caravan and ship, connecting the medieval world. The arrival of such ingredients sparked curiosity and suspicion. Locals marveled at the apothecary's strange jars filled with foreign smells and textures, wondering about their mysterious powers. The apothecary's work intersected with that of physicians and clergy. Physicians often relied on ancient medical texts and performed diagnoses, while clergy provided spiritual care and blessings. The apothecary prepared remedies and sometimes offered advice on lifestyle and health. Though collaboration existed, tensions arose over authority in healing. The Church's influence meant that medicine was bound by religious doctrine. Apothecaries had to navigate this delicate balance, maintaining respect and obedience while practicing their craft. Apprenticeship was the path to becoming an apothecary. Young apprentices learned by watching, listening, and practicing under the master's guidance. They memorized herbs and recipes, learned to identify plants, and mastered preparation techniques. The process was slow and repetitive. Apprentices spent years in training before gaining full responsibility. Patience and humility were required virtues. This oral transmission of knowledge ensured that skills and traditions endured, passed down through generations. The apothecary's year was ruled by nature and faith. Plant gathering followed seasonal cycles and lunar phases. Certain herbs could only be harvested at particular times to preserve their potency. Religious festivals and feast days influenced timing, as some rituals coincided with these occasions. Awareness of celestial events guided decisions. The apothecary's work was a rhythm of seasons, cycles, and ceremonies, blending nature's clock with human belief. Harvesting herbs was more than a practical task. It was a sacred ritual. The apothecary often performed prayers or chants while gathering plants. Care was taken not to harm the environment or the spirit of the plants. Tools were used respectfully, and plants were cut gently. Some believed that proper rituals increased the herb's healing power. These practices connected the apothecary to the natural world and its unseen forces. After preparation, remedies had to be carefully preserved. Dried herbs were stored in sealed jars, labeled with their contents and preparation date. Ointments and tinctures were kept in dark glass bottles to protect them from light and air. The apothecary regularly inspected stocks, discarding spoiled or ineffective medicines. Preservation was as crucial as preparation, ensuring that remedies remained safe and potent for use. Epidemics were terrifying events. The apothecary's work became frantic during outbreaks of plague or other diseases. Demand for remedies surged while supplies dwindled. With limited knowledge of infection and transmission, the apothecary relied on familiar recipes, prayers, and hope. Improvisation was common, adapting old remedies to new symptoms. The apothecary's role was both healer and comforter, offering what help they could in desperate times. Many apothecaries also acted as midwives or assisted in childbirth. They prepared remedies to ease labor pains, reduce bleeding, and prevent infection. This intimate role required trust between apothecary and family. Knowledge of plants and remedies passed through women's networks. The apothecary was a guardian at the threshold of life, supporting mothers in their most vulnerable moments. The apothecary faced many obstacles. Ingredients could be scarce or expensive. Competition with other healers or physicians was common. Suspicion from church or authorities meant constant vigilance. Mistakes could be fatal, and knowledge was incomplete. The slow pace of work demanded patience and perseverance. Success was measured in small victories, in the relief of pain or the healing of wounds. Herbal knowledge was wrapped in stories, myths, and legends. Folklore preserved ancient wisdom, explaining the powers of plants and remedies. The apothecary was also a storyteller, passing this oral tradition to apprentices and patients. These tales connected communities to their past and gave meaning to their struggles with illness. As night fell, the apothecary's workshop grew quiet. Ingredients were safely stored, candles extinguished. The apothecary rested, reflecting on the day's work. The silence of night was a calm contrast to the slow, steady labor of the day. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and remedies. Humility and patience were central to the apothecary's philosophy. Acceptance of human frailty tempered their ambition. Healing was a slow, delicate art, bound by nature's laws and divine will. This philosophy guided their work and life, embracing both success and failure with quiet resolve. Some apothecaries became renowned for their skill and knowledge. Their work laid foundations for later advances in medicine and pharmacy. Modern pharmacists owe much to these early healers. The legacy of the medieval apothecary is found in the careful study of plants, respect for healing as a craft, and dedication to patient care. The medieval apothecary embodied a slow, methodical, and deeply human approach to healing. Their work was a delicate balance of nature, faith, and craft. Though distant from modern science, their legacy reminds us of the timeless quest to understand and soothe the human body. As we close this long, slow journey, rest now, knowing that healing has always been part of the human story. Good night,